Hello, everyone. Welcome to the closing keynote for our third annual Mar Dreaming. I can't believe we're already here. It's been a crazy week, a busy week, and thank you guys all for joining us for tons of great content on all things Marketing Cloud, account engagement, Salesforce analytics. We covered a lot of ground. Happy Friday to those of you in the US time zones. Happy Saturday morning to our friends over in APAC. We've had an awesome week. Over 4,000 marketers joining us from 64 countries across the globe. For our closing keynote, just a quick note that we will be giving out some exclusive swag during the session. So make sure to participate in the chat to be in the running to get one of those awesome pieces of swag. To bring us home for our final session, I'll be handing things over to Neha and Nathan from Salesforce to tell us more about Genie and how that works with account engagement. But first, let's watch a short video.
Thank you, Andrea, and the entire Circante team for this amazing week of Mar Dreaming. It is great to be here with all of you today. I'm Neha Shah, Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Salesforce. I focus on account engagement and all things B2B marketing, and today I'm very excited to share how account engagement's new API enhancements and extensibility features lay the foundation to help marketers, one, meet customer demands with all the privacy changes, and secondly, allow all of us marketers to do more with less. And as we talk about all the latest and greatest enhancements to B2B marketing at Salesforce, we may be referencing to our future innovations and forward-looking trends. So let's take a look at a fun forward-looking video.
Greetings, everybody. My name is Press Maxon, and here at Salesforce, we always strive to help. We always strive to help, inform, educate, and yes, entertain, which is why I'm going to deliver today's safe harbor statement a little differently. So wherever you are, push your chair away from your desk or your table, give yourself some room to dance, and let's rock out.
Here comes the safe harbor statement under the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995. This presentation contains some forward-looking statements about the company's financial and operating results. Now that includes expected GAAP and non-GAAP, financial and operating and non-operating results, and much, much more. So what does this mean for you? What does this mean for you? It means please base all your purchasing decisions on currently available products. Please base all your purchasing decisions on currently available products. Oh, and third-party trademarks are property of their owners. For more information, you can check out.
Wasn't that just amazing? Thank you. Thank you, Press, again. But more importantly, a huge thank you to all of you. Thank you for taking the time to join us today and this week at our first ever Mar Dreaming. Woohoo! And thank you for not only being our customers and partners, but being part of this incredible community and inspiring us every day. We all know that the world for marketers is changing rapidly, and marketers today are facing unprecedented challenges. First, we are dealing with a number of economic disruptors that are forcing companies to contract, from the war in Ukraine to inflation to the threat of a recession. And this economic uncertainty has impacted everyone, and B2B marketers are not immune. We know that with this economy, many marketing teams are asked to do more with less, whether it could be less headcount, fewer resources, or even less time. And this is resulting in a push to drive efficiencies, in a push to automate processes, and to cut cost. And at the same time, we are headed towards a cookieless future, which is making things harder to create personalized experiences for our customers. This means marketers need to shift their efforts and prioritize first and zero-party data in order to develop their customer profiles. And at the same time, they need to build trust with their customers in order to ensure that any data that their customers do share is in safe hands. In fact, according to our latest State of Marketing report, which was just released this week, only 49% of companies say that they are prepared to handle changes in consumer privacy protections. But despite these challenges, our customers' expectations are not changing. In fact, B2B buyers expect highly personalized outreach. According to our State of Connected Customer report, 56% of customers expect all outreach to always be personalized to their needs and wants. And on top of that, 88% say that the experience that they have with the company is just as important, if not more, than the product or service itself. So the big question is, how do we meet customer expectations in this new world? How do we create that seamless and frictionless experience for our customers, irrespective of the department that they're interacting with? Whether they're clicking on that digital marketing ad, or talking to their account rep, or working with the service team on a support case. Well, there is one company that's already helping businesses orchestrate moments across marketing, sales, and service, and that's Salesforce. And now with Salesforce Genie, the Salesforce Customer 360 platform gets even better. Genie makes the Customer 360 more automated, more intelligent, and more real-time. And all of this allows you to put your customers at the center of everything you do. It unites all of your data, technology teams, whether it's marketing, sales, service, or even commerce or IT. All of those teams are on one integrated real-time CRM platform. And with Genie powering Marketing Cloud, now you can automate engagement across every channel, from email to social to ads to the web. And all of that can save you valuable time. You can even optimize marketing performance with intelligent insights to increase ROI. With Slack, you can accelerate end-to-end marketing by improving workflows and collaborations across teams. And more importantly, you can personalize that every moment with trusted first-party data to get a complete picture of each customer across marketing, sales, service, and more, and truly build those real-time customer relationships at scale. So currently, we are laying the foundation to deeply integrate across B2B and B2C platforms. And as part of that, we are making critical updates to account engagement, including our recently released API v5 enhancements, which allow marketing teams to better capture and manage first-party data. And as marketers, we understand that APIs can be intimidating and complex, especially as you're trying to do more to scale your organizations fast. So with these new enhancements, now you can automate data management with a flexible, scalable API. API enhancements have allowed us to make account engagement a more extensible platform. For example, with recent updates such as external activity or external actions, marketers can now consolidate tech stacks and automate omnichannel journeys in Engagement Studio. And they can do it at scale. So in other words, now it's possible to trigger webinar registrations, SMS sends, and more right within this automated journey. And B2B marketers can see a variety of benefits as we are laying down this groundwork. First, you can connect your data to better understand your customer. That means it's easier to bring together data from multiple sources to create that single view of people and accounts. Secondly, marketers can now create and activate smarter segments faster. How? They can use unified data to build high-value audiences in Salesforce CDP or other segmentation tools and activate it in account engagement. And all of this can truly help you unlock the power of an open ecosystem by helping you manage data and assets efficiently and building those external actions for use in automated marketing campaigns. So, as a marketer, I'm very excited about these innovations. But what is even more exciting is to see how all of this will work. So please join me in welcoming Nathan Maphet, Senior Director of Product Management, to a deeper dive on all these innovations.
Thanks, Neha. It's great to be here. So I'm Nathan Maphet. I'm the head of product for Marketing Cloud Account Engagement. Today, we're going to do a little more of a deeper dive into how Salesforce Genie and account engagement can work together to unlock value and drive greater personalization. So as Neha mentioned, the landscape for B2B marketers has never really been more challenging. There's a lot of things going on. As we're looking at our own roadmap, there's 4 key trends that we're focusing on that helps set the stage for this. The first is just around data. Data is what empowers marketers to deliver those great, trusted, personalized engagement that customers expect. But managing that data is getting a little more complex. We have a wide variety of data sources. It's complex to integrate. Sometimes it matches, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes there's immediate insight. Sometimes maybe there's a few more extra surprises in the data lake. CDPs are stepping into that gap to help marketers be able to make sense of it all, to rationalize and make it actionable. The second key trend is around artificial intelligence. AI as a technology is pretty much commonplace these days. We see marketers learning and experimenting with how to pull AI into the customer experience. Particularly, we see this around use cases like best actions, process automation, or personalization. The third is about ethical marketing and trusted personalization. There's 2 themes to this, really. There's the government trends and regulations, all the great acronyms, GDPR, CCPA, CRPA. There's also the industry changes, Apple's mail privacy protection, Google's eventual deprecation of third-party cookies. All these are working together to be able to encourage marketers towards a consumer-first, consent-based approach to data collection. This is great. Salesforce trust is our number 1 value. It does present challenges. Who has struggled with understanding emails open as a valid metric recently? Sometimes our previous performance metrics aren't quite as relevant, maybe need a little bit of updating. And the last key trend is around just the ongoing MarTech ecosystem explosion and proliferation. We don't anticipate this slowing down. All the major marketing platforms are working hard to enable and expand their own ecosystem of specialist applications. This is also great. It actually allows buyers to do 2 things. One is to find those great point solutions to solve immediate needs and specific workflow and specific productivity gaps. It also allows marketers and buyers to begin building for the future, to find that MarTech stack that helps them grow as their business grows. Salesforce Genie and account engagement can help you address these challenges and drive incredible business value by creating highly personalized, trusted, and automated experiences across the Salesforce Customer 360 platform in your MarTech ecosystem. How exactly does all this work? So at a high level, Salesforce Genie is allowing you to connect all your customer data, whether it's real-time or historical data, from any source, whether that's apps, mobile, web, connected devices. Take that and harmonize it into a single unified customer profile. This profile isn't static, it's dynamic, it's evolving as your customers are engaging with you. And we can then take that data and activate it across the entire Customer 360 to create those great personalized experiences for your customers. Let's take a look at an example of how Salesforce Genie partnered with account engagement can create that real-time customer magic. Again, it all starts with data. Salesforce Genie is how customers bring together all of their data using out-of-the-box connectors for sales, commerce, marketing, service, and in the future, account engagement from across the Salesforce Customer 360. Even today, using a lot of the great API and enhancements that Neha called out earlier, customers can use Salesforce Genie plus account engagement to integrate all the data they use to run their business. Once all the data sources are connected, everything is surfaced in a unified customer profile. This profile serves as the source of truth for everything about the customer, blending data from any Salesforce cloud with connected external data sources into a single view. This data can easily be turned into a new segment of customers based on critical features such as which customers are most likely to purchase. And with API v5, we can take that segment and send it directly to account engagement to use in creating incredible personalized experiences for all of our customers. And with the power of account engagement automation tools and that segment that we just pulled in, we can now engage customers across different channels, such as email or text. And we can bring in intelligent superpowers of Einstein engagement frequency into Engagement Studio. Coming soon, we'll be able to pull in Einstein send time optimization as well. Using that, we can ensure that customers will receive messages at the time that is most likely to result in a response. Once a message is sent, you can wait for an indication of engagement from any third-party application using external activity. This allows you to further enhance and extend your automations. And based on that prospect's interaction, you can immediately send a follow-up personalized text message using external actions to drive engagement even further. All this ultimately working towards a closed sale. We can do a little demo magic, hit fast forward, and as customers are engaging with these key messages and content, we can now get sales easily involved with customized notifications right where they work in Slack. This is great at helping to improve collaboration across the marketing and sales teams. And that's not all. With all that great data from Sales Cloud and account engagement, a sales rep has every piece of information right at their fingertips, including AI-powered insights to help drive those great customer relationships. And finally, wrapping everything back up into Salesforce Genie, the unified customer profile is being updated throughout this entire process with all the new activity. That's whether from Sales Cloud or account engagement, even from all the external applications. And this is really where it all comes together. This becomes the single source of truth for every single customer. So with all this, we've seen how Salesforce Genie and account engagement can help you unify all your data to unlock customer value with a single source of truth that's bringing all your first-party data, all your zero-party data. You can get the complete picture of each customer and engage them with relevancy. It enables you to personalize every moment using real-time data to humanize each part of the customer experience, whether that's across sales, service, commerce, or more. It enables you to automate every engagement, whether it's email, mobile, social, ads, or the web, so you can save valuable time in your workflow and in your workday. And finally, it helps optimize performance and spend, so you can gain those key insights, create the efficiencies, and maximize your ROI. And with Slack as your digital headquarters, you're able to accelerate end-to-end marketing even further by improving workflows and collaboration across your teams, whether marketing or sales. Thank you for taking the time to do this demo with me. I'm excited to turn it back to Andrea now to guide our fireside chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Neha. I have a mad little baby in the background, one of the joys of working from home. So apologies if you guys hear any extra sound effects on our fireside chat here. Thank you for sharing a little bit more about how Genie will be used to power personalized campaigns, how it'll be used in segmentation. It's exciting to think about how this is going to shape the world of B2B marketing, and I'm excited to see what this evolves to be over the next few years. So now I'd like to welcome Jay Wilder, VP of Product Marketing, and Eric Zenz, SVP of Product Management and Marketing Applications, to join us for our fireside chat Q&A portion of today's keynote. Jay and Eric, I've heard both of you guys described as kind of a big deal, but looked at your LinkedIn profiles and I didn't find that. But in all seriousness, Jay and Eric are two of the most senior leaders at Salesforce who are stewarding the vision of the future of the platform. And we're really honored to have them here with us today. So thank you both for joining us.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
I'd love to kick us off with a question about something I've been seeing a lot about on the news and on LinkedIn. 2022 has been a huge year for account engagement and for Marketing Cloud as a whole. Specifically, the recent innovations have been catching the eye of analysts at Gartner. And account engagement was just recognized as a leader in B2B marketing automation. In the usual axis that they do, it was placed on the furthest on the completeness of vision axis, which I think is really great. It's also a little complicated. So in plain English, can you tell us a little bit more about what this Gartner report really means for people who are using account engagement?
Sure, Andrea, I can take this one. Yeah, and first of all, thanks for having us here. It's great to be here with the community. Yeah, this report was wonderful. It's actually our 5th year consecutively of being a leader, which may sound like maybe it's a shoe-in every year, but it's definitely not. It is a hard-fought competition. And on a regular basis, various vendors and platforms can move in very wide swings depending on the very dynamic changes in the market. But I think the real kind of takeaway here was, as you mentioned, right, the vision was really well recognized by the analysts this year, which is a testament to not only how well the platform has evolved over time, but where we're going in the future. And I think some of the things that really resonated were, the capabilities of working on a single CRM platform, connecting marketing, sales, and service teams as people together with a very streamlined technology that helps move prospects, leads, contacts, account relationships very seamlessly across those teams. And they really like the direction that we're going in terms of bringing Slack into that, not only as a separate technology, but as one that's deeply now integrated with the product. And certainly Genie, right, which we just heard all about from Neha and Nathan, bringing a much more real-time data infrastructure in to bring CRM into its kind of 2.0 or maybe 3.0 realm. I think some of the other areas too that they really looked at as being important was, marketing automation continues to be sort of the glue in the center, but there's a lot of different tools that we use as marketers. And so we have maybe our favorite SMS apps, maybe our favorite live streaming or on-demand video platforms. We all use, webinars and platforms like we're using here today. And so the ability to do external actions and move data back and forth with account engagement was, I think, really well recognized as bringing the ecosystem together around demand gen and the marketing automation marketers in a more simple way. And I have to note, just by the way, aside from all the technology criteria, partner ecosystem and community was specifically singled out and recognized in this report. And just have to give a massive thanks to this community because it is so vibrant, it is so alive, and I could not stop hearing at Dreamforce from analysts just about how real this community is and how different it is from some of the other vendors in the space. So that just deserves a big heartfelt thank you for that continued energy that everybody brings in sharing.
Yeah, I have to give you a +1 on that comment because this community is one of the reasons why I love being a part of this space, and I'm excited to come to work every morning and learn new things. So I'm really glad to hear that that was considered as part of this Gartner report. And I'm also really glad to see that your teams are taking a lot of feedback from the community into account when looking at the overall product roadmap. It's really exciting. Eric, can you talk a bit more about the vision for account engagement and where you see that product heading in the future?
Sure thing, Andrea. First of all, I also wanted to thank you all for welcoming me to your screens today. I'm thrilled to get to know this community and to have the opportunity to share some of the great work that the account engagement team has planned. The first theme, which is relevant in the current economic climate, is just improving the efficiency and effectiveness of marketers with the product. So we're going to continue to work on speed and ease of use as core themes so that we can help teams build out the campaigns and the assets they need more quickly and easily. You've already seen some recent direction in delivery from the product team on this with enhancements like drag and drop email builders and landing pages and supports for prepackaged components and emails. And we're going to keep going there. But beyond efficiency, we also want to improve marketers' outcomes by leveraging more of the Salesforce platform and allowing automation across channels using the APIs that were discussed earlier. So speaking to leaning into the platform, the first part is to continue leaning in on Slack with the digital HQ and making marketing insights immediately actionable for for success and other teams to help improve collaboration. If you were at Dreamforce, you probably saw a session about creative cubes and how they were leveraging Slack to connect basically to connect their sales and customer success teams to the key interactions that their members were having with marketing so that they could serve them better. Now, it's no surprise by the previous part of this presentation that we also want to help marketers leverage Salesforce Genie to deliver a 360-degree view of their customers to operate with greater insight across sales, service, and the rest of Salesforce, of course, marketing. And with that, we think we have a great opportunity to improve the personalization that you as marketers have with your customers day in and day out.
Thank you for that window to what's happening with the future of the platform. I think another thing that's top of mind for a lot of us when we think about the future, and this is something we touched on a little earlier in the presentation, but a lot of marketers have been hit hard by uncertainty about the economy in the future. And for those who haven't been immediately impacted, it's certainly top of mind as we look at what's ahead in the next 3, 6, 12 months. We're feeling the impact of inflation, tighter budgets, fewer resources. So how should marketers be thinking about this as we weather this uncertainty and figure out what happens next?
Yeah, Andrea, I'll grab that one. I think as a marketer, I'm thinking about this, myself and across our teams too. There's a few areas that, I think are, the kind of maybe the columns to start thinking about where can we start to make a concerted effort to be able to do more with less, essentially over the next calendar year. One, I think, is in terms of reducing complexity, right? There is still a lot of resident complexity within marketing. I think we all aspire to continue to flush that out, but there's always more we can do. And I think consolidating technology is part of that. I think our investments continue to help make account engagement work well together with sales and service and CRM. That's just kind of one example of that, of being able to consolidate. But also starting to leverage some of the intelligence capabilities to reduce complexity, like in artificial intelligence, like Einstein behavioral scoring, or jumping into send time optimization. Sometimes I talk to some marketers and they say, I haven't really gotten into that yet. Like, I've been waiting to get there, and I feel like it might be a little bit complicated, and I'm not sure yet. And I've talked to some marketers recently that said, I've just turned on those features for the first time because I actually just want to start training my models, because we do actually want to start doing that pretty soon. So I say now is really the time more than ever to start relieving some of the manual analysis, taking some of the challenging kind of bottlenecks out of the process. I think in terms of complexity too, we mentioned community before, but continuing to take time to learn and share and get best practices, upskill, rescale through resources that are free and available, that don't cost anything, like we see on Trailhead and the Trailblazer community. But as you get down to the nuts and bolts of day to day, we can't do a show of hands here because we're virtual, but I bet if we did and asked, how many times have you had a meeting where it kind of spins around, or you have to have that meeting again? And oftentimes it's because you don't have really the underlying data, right, to make a decision about what do we actually cut in a more efficient time, and where should we be maybe shifting spend, and maybe that data is not always available. So I think more effort on analytics to really streamline and automate that process is going to be super important, so we can make the right decisions, as well as prove our value, as we always do throughout the organization, by telling that data story. And as we heard, about CDP and I think personalization as well, those are opportunities, I think, to use data to optimize the customer journey. We're going to have a Forrester report coming out in the next month or so, where we found that personalization capabilities can increase web conversion by up to 60%, right? So when you think about rising ad costs and the cost to bring a visitor to your site, being able to convert them at a higher clip is going to be really, really important. So those are a couple of the things that I think about, just in terms of reducing complexity, leaning into your data from an analytical standpoint, but also leveraging new ways to drive higher conversions in those really meaningful moments, particularly like on your website.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with all of the things that you called out there, particularly analytics. I think in really good times, it's easier to go get by on gut feel and say, this, I can tell that this program's working. can't give you a number to it, but like we feel like this is going well. When budgets start getting tight and more things are under more scrutiny, it's great as a marketer to be able to pull up actual data and say, this is how many leads I contributed to pipeline. This is how many dollars were influenced by marketing, and just painting more of a picture of how you know what's working and what's not working, even if you're relying a little bit on intuition today.
Yeah, I totally agree. Being able to back up those assertions and those point of views with data helps bring everybody along where they might not know every kind of nuts and bolts of the program or the campaign, but everyone can kind of see the data and understand why we might be investing more or less in a certain area and bring everybody along.
And your senior leadership may not remember, okay, these are the 12 campaigns that we executed, but if you give them a $1 million number, that one will stick in their minds. I want to talk a little bit about a theme that we touched on a little bit earlier in this presentation, and we've actually had a few sessions on throughout this week, and that's privacy changes. So privacy changes, kind of the move to the cookieless future, as they're calling it, are impacting marketers' day-to-day workflows in pretty significant ways. This has been a big area of conversation for a few years now, and the landscape is ever evolving. Like dates keep getting moved, compliance requirements are shifting. Google announced it postponed removing third-party cookies from Chrome until 2024, so we can have a little more time to address that one. Apple, on the other hand, went full steam ahead with its privacy features last year, including the mail privacy protection, which has heavily impacted email marketers and how we can measure success of campaigns. Do you have any thoughts on kind of what marketers should keep top of mind as we look at this evolving landscape in a cookieless future?
Yeah, Andrew, I think this conversation typically kind of starts and sometimes doesn't end just around like first party advertising, which is definitely really important, right? Building a first party foundation, being able to activate that data with trust and privacy. There's a lot of regulatory benefit to doing that. And I think there's also a lot of benefit around having IP in your data, right? This is your relationship data. Nobody else has it. So that's really interesting as well. Sorry, 1 second. Shh. Okay. Go tell mommy. I guess I'm taking all the connection. His iPad's not working. That's my 3.5-year-old. Sorry about that. But I think there's other shades to this conversation too, right? And one is, I think, around making privacy just easier to manage, right? We just released the new State of Marketing Reports, the 8th edition. We've gone, I think, from 12 to 15 to 18 average data sources now that you have to manage. And there's privacy and consent and preference, right? That's associated with all these different places that we engage. And, kind of looking at some of the things that Nathan and Neha just showed, CDPs and Genie-like capabilities, those are great for centralizing data and doing activation and orchestration, but they also represent a way to centralize privacy management. And so there's an added kind of benefit there that I think is worth recognizing. I think the other piece that I have a lot of conversations both with our teams, but also with customers is how do we get the right first party data? And sometimes that's partly a technical question or a platform question, but it's also about value exchange, right? What are we willing to give up as a consumer, right, to brands and businesses that we interact with? And the Harvard Business Review actually had a great piece on this that actually identified out significant areas where people do share data, and it can be for economic incentives, so promotions and things like that, can be around convenience, making their lives easier, community, altruism, inspiration, education. So we can think about all these different modalities and how we can put them into our marketing to gain more first-party data and be on the side of trust as we go forward. And then you can start to put those strategies into play. And it certainly plays well within marketing automation. I think it also works well. We think again about like web personalization and CDP, and how do we actually help start to gain a better sense of intent and affinity, what products, what topics, what things are interesting to people, and do that in a consented, privacy safe way, and put that data right back into play so people can see the value of sharing it, right? So they see that real-time personalization and then they want to share more. So those are a couple of the different things I think about. Forbes, by the way, at Dreamforce shared a really good presentation too, that it's not just about the technology, it's also just about getting together with your marketing and sales teams, aligning on the right questions that you want to be asking of your ideal customer profiles, and then doing that very methodically. And in their case, they raised their ideal persona count by 4x, and that's available on the site in our resource section if you get a chance to take a look at that. But those are some of the ways that I and we think about the privacy conversation, including but not just around the first-party advertising side.
Yeah, the proliferation of data is definitely top of mind for marketers as we look at how our programs need to grow and evolve in the future. And on the theme of data, I'd love to talk a little bit more about Genie. And we know from the presentation that it promises to deliver real-time customer data in one place so that marketers can use those audiences and use that data to provide a more personalized experience. Given everything that we've talked about today with data, privacy, can you speak a bit more about how this can help marketers?
Sure, I'll take that one. So the customer data platform powered by Genie allows our marketers to collect zero and first party data across channels associated with prospects and customers and accounts, and then ultimately activate it and analyze it. And in doing so, it allows marketers to build out customer profiles and then to collect this zero and first party data consensually rather than having to lean on second or third party data, which is increasingly hard to use. But Genie is just more than a tool for ensuring consent and storing engagement data. It enables companies to unify all of this customer data into a single customer graph that can be activated across the entire Salesforce 360. What this allows for is like a combined understanding of a customer's unified profile across sales, service, marketing, but also across external data sources as well. We recently announced a real-time connection to Snowflake, and of course, many other connectors to popular sources like Google, AWS, or really anything else you can bring in with the API. So on top of all of that data, it then supports real-time automation, intelligence, and personalization. That's really the sort of Genie magic on top of it. And it allows, what that allows you to do then is to create these real-time tailored communications that you could, that were hard or impossible to do really well before. Like if you wanted to make sure that your campaign was always up to the second fresh for excluding customers that had ongoing support cases, because maybe you don't want to send emails to those folks. Now, here at Salesforce, we're living this today. Salesforce on Salesforce already uses Genie as the real-time single source of truth for customer profiles, these unified customer profiles. We're actually using 50 data streams and collecting billions of data points, but using the tools in the platform to efficiently segment those so that marketers and sales always engage with the right audience at the right time in the right way. So I know there's a lot of sort of outbound excitement that we're conveying about Genie. We're very excited about it. There's also a lot of enthusiasm that we see from communities like this and our trailblazers. And on the product side, we're excited to look at opportunities to make Genie and the CDP more valuable to our B2B marketers.
Awesome, thank you. So as I mentioned in the beginning, this is our third annual Par Dreaming, and we have a bit of a tradition for the final question of our fireside chat to wrap up the week. And that question is asking you to predict the future a bit. So looking forward to the year 2023, what are your predictions for new things we're going to see, trends we're going to see grow, and how they might impact marketers?
I guess I'll start. So the State of Marketing Report, version 8, was just published earlier this week. It's a great report. It gives us a ton of new insight onto what our marketers are thinking about right now. And frankly, it's required reading for my PM team. So Nathan, heads up. So one thing that I'm really excited about from that report is the way that it talks about AI becoming an increasingly common tool for marketers as an assistive technology to help improve their outcomes. The stat in particular that was interesting was that 68% of marketers say that they have a fully defined AI strategy, which sounded high to me. It's awesome. It sounded high. It was surprising. But what was more surprising was that it was up 8 percentage points from the last year alone. And what I think we'll continue to see is that trend will grow as marketers are asked to do more with less. And really the easiest and only option to do that would be to turn some of the decisioning and some of the work over to an AI. Now, the good news is that account engagement already includes a number of AI capabilities for marketers to help. As Jay said, you just need to turn it on in a lot of cases. So whether that's lead scoring, behavior scoring, or campaign analytics, the product is already there with that assistive technology to help you today. I'm also interested in trends of how B2B and B2C marketers are sharing marketing tactics. So as an example, the report goes on to talk about account-based marketing and how 15% of marketing budget spend is on ABM, emphasizing the value of personalizing messaging and engagement that's spread from B2C to B2B strategies. I guess beyond that, of course, we see a ton of inquiries about CDP with the cookieless future that we're on the edge of. Really, what we're seeing from B2C marketers is that they need a CDP to collect that zero and first party data. And we're seeing that need bubbling up in inquiries from our B2B customers as well. And I guess lastly, the other trend I notice is a trend towards an increasing use of omni-channel engagement. It's a little bit further ahead in B2C, but the B2B community tracks this as well. And there's been a lot of interest in SMS in particular, and probably other mobile channels as well. But having said all that, email is still king by our data, right, Jay?
It is, which is a good segue. Eric and I were talking about this as we were kind of getting prepped for the day, and I've been reading through the report as well. And every year we always ask the question about kind of what's top of mind. Where's the next edge of the customer experience? What's coming up to the fore? And some of the things, as you would expect, would be around video platforms. This year it's actually neck and neck, which is interesting. And this is B2C and B2B, so it's a little bit of a wide path. But as Eric mentioned, a lot of these things are coming together anyway. But on-demand and live streaming video are basically neck and neck for, being top new channels. Digital content, specifically interactive content, so kind of a move away from the download, the PDF, kind of standard format into something that's more interactive, something that can, again, collect more first-party data, right, and be more of an interesting experience for the customer, but also a way to better understand what their needs are and then choose the next step is definitely showing up. But as Eric alluded to, email still reigns supreme. It is the king or queen, take your pick, of channel engagement still. And so that's going to carry forward. And I thought what was really interesting was we did some analysis of over 1 trillion messages sent over the last year. Email represented still about 80% of those interactions and engagement, right? So it is still the workhorse, and it is still delivering a ton of value, with very, very high ROI. And I think the percentage of increase last year was about 15%. So it continues to climb in the double digits. So that one is on the top of my list for continuing to grow and be strong as these other channels are filling out new experiences. And probably as folks on the call here today, maybe starting to use them, maybe starting to be more interactive, more video based, but still kind of bringing it all home with email as well. This came up in a conversation with one of the journalists, by the way, as we were kind of talking through this. I think one of the areas that's an adjacency here as well to watch out for is the OTT messaging platforms as well. So as you think about mobile engagement, we recently did some research and kind of looking around the world in terms of where are the fingers tapping through which modality. And globally, it's not through your SMS or MMS, right? It's happening actually on the whole. It's happening through WhatsApp. WhatsApp is the #1 chat platform, and it's for B2C and B2B. And it was really interesting at Dreamforce. We had the opportunity to meet with some of the team from Meta. We just announced a big strategic partnership with them, where we're going to be integrating and working more closely. But as an example, there's large B2B businesses that are doing ordering through WhatsApp with their SMBs, right, throughout the country. So instead of having to send sales reps out to go take the order, you actually can just automate that entire experience through WhatsApp and then deliver that and handle service and commerce and marketing all in one thread. And this kind of composable mobile conversation capability is one to watch out for that I think has come a little bit later to the US, only because we've typically been more in SMS ourselves here. But I think that's we're probably going to get caught up with the rest of the world in the next year. But two of the other places, Andrea, I think I think community continues to be really, really important, especially as let's face it, we're all going to be confronted with new questions and new challenges in this next year. If the last year, 2 years, 3 years proves as a precedent, right, of what's to come, there's just so much coming our way that I think as a community, being able to lean in and ask each other for advice. What are you doing here? How are you adapting to the rise in advertising costs? How are you adapting your messaging to what could be the next sensitive global topic, right? How are you leading with your values today? We heard from NI National Instruments, recently at Connections this year, that talked about the importance of finding your brand mission and running with it, right, in today's world. Really wearing it on your sleeve. So I think leaning into the community is going to be a big one. And then as we were talking about too before, Andrea, and I think you would concur, more data, more analytics, more automation, right? We're going to be asked as marketers to find more and more ways to be able to justify our investments, to be able to bring people along with our investment ideas, and be able to share the value as we see that created, whether it's in leads and pipeline, in customer adoption, right? All the different ways that we need to thrive and succeed as a business. So, data is always the topic every year. Analytics is always a topic every year. But I always, tend to think that there's a discrepancy, I think, between sometimes what we see out there and think of the norm as everybody's got it covered, and the reality when we sometimes talk amongst ourselves off the event stage and so forth, that actually there's still a lot of work to do. There's still a lot of manual process to resolve. There's still a lot of data automation and integration that has to be solved. Not having daily or even more frequent access to data so you can make decisions. Or maybe I've got campaign level, but I don't have it to creative or content, or I don't have it at segment or audience. I think really leaning in and finding that time this year to get those processes right, not only so you can prove value, but you can work better together as a team and make decisions faster and more confidently. I think that's an investment that's going to be well worth it.
Yeah, I could not agree more with some of your comments there. Absolutely agree with your thoughts on community. As the tech stack continues to evolve, as the business landscape evolves, as the economy changes, leaning on each other is one of the best tools that we have to ride all of those waves. And appreciate your comments too about data and when you see the kind of the finished campaign on the screen at Dreamforce or on the shiny case study, all the folks in the room here know the hard work that it takes to get there, and in their organizations where there's still work to be done to get that data in place and gaps to be bridged. And so thank you guys for sharing your perspective on kind of what's coming down the pipe, and I'm excited to see those predictions realized in the coming year.
No, thank you for
Jay,
inviting
Eric,
us.
thank you guys both for being here and for sharing your insights with this whole community. Really appreciate you taking the time and being a part of this. I'm really excited about the future. I don't know about from the chat, it looks like many folks in the audience are excited as well. So thank you both for being here.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, everybody. It's Great to be here.
And now our last point of business before we can officially call Margriming a wrap. We have Gilda in the audience here to sprinkle some amazing swag on those of you who have hung in here with us to the final day. So I'd like to bring Gilda to the stage for some final fun and surprises.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right. It has been an amazing 3 days. I have enjoyed every single session that I was able to attend. And what better way to wrap up Margriming than to hand out brandy plushies. So with that being said, we have 5 lucky winners that will be handed out brandy plushies. So are you guys ready? Let me do my fake drum roll on the table. First winner is Katie Kind. Katie Kind, congratulations. You have just won a brandy plushie. Amber Catalan, I hope I am not botching your name. So Amber, congratulations. Emily Stiles, if you are on, you also won a brandy plushie. Matthew Mays, Mayes, you've also won yourself a one-of-a-kind brandy plushie. And we have one more. Who is the lucky winner? Gabby Moravec. I'm sorry, Gabby, I'm butchering your name. Blame it on me. Moravec. So Katie, Amber, Emily, Matthew, Gabby, thank you so very much for joining Margriming. We hope you enjoyed it, and you guys will be all receiving this really cute one-of-a-kind brandy plushie.
Yay! Thank you, Gilda, for sprinkling some final joy on our last session here. And thank you, everyone, for being a part of this amazing week. As we've told you guys in a couple of spots, all of this is going to be recorded. So we'll have all these recordings live on this platform within 24 hours of Margriming wrapping up. So thank you all for being here. Excited for the fun to continue, and have a great weekend.
Bye, everyone.